I definitely wasn't planning on recording a second video today, but I want to tell y'all this. Yes, it's 2025. Yes, mortgages and rent has skyrocketed. And I'm not about to sit here and go into all the details on what has contributed to that as far as renters and homeowners are concerned, and just the way that we're constantly consuming things that we don't need, because I'm about solutions. And as a disciple of Jesus Christ, I know that even in 2025 and 2026 and 2027 and every year thereafter that, it is still possible to become 100% debt-free living in the United States of America. Now, I can't speak for no other country, but one thing I do know, especially being a daughter of immigrants, is that we have a lot of access in this country. We have opportunities afforded to us, even if you ain't go to college. Yeah, there was a point in time where they were pushing everybody to get a higher education degree, but you don't need a college degree to be successful in the United States of America. As a matter of fact, you really need a work ethic, but most importantly, you need faith in Jesus Christ. So for those of you that have been, you made some poor choices with your money, you might be watching them news reports where they're constantly beating you over the head about how high rent is or how high the interest rates are and this, that, and the third. Trust me, it's always going to be something. But you know who's always going to be someone? The living God. You know who's always going to sit on the throne? The living God. You know who sits at the right hand of the living God? Jesus Christ, Yeshua HaMashiach. And this is what I know. Who the Son sets free is free indeed. And one thing we got to start doing is we look a little too much like the world. That is something that the Lord has allowed me to see, especially within the American church. The American church, which I am a part of, so I'm not excluding myself. We have gotten too comfortable with struggling with the same things unbelievers aren't struggling with. And then at the same time, we're talking about laying hands and casting devils out, but we're still in bondage to debt, monetary debt. You're still in bondage to credit card companies. You're still in bondage to student loans. That doesn't have to be the case. You can't sit there and try to convince somebody that there is freedom and liberty in Christ Jesus. And yet when you take a closer look at your life looks just like the very person you're witnessing to. It don't make sense. And not everybody is going through a Job situation. The difference with Job is that the Lord appointed his affliction. Some of the affliction that we're dealing with within the church here in the USA is affliction that we brought onto ourselves, because we're saying one thing, but we're living a life that opposes what we say. So do we believe that with God all things are possible, or do we believe that really determines on the situation? I'm of the thought that with God all things are possible, including becoming 100% debt free. Get out of debt, pray and build what the Lord told you to build, and preach the gospel uncompromised and undiluted.